Hi, my name is Robert. This video is designed to give you step-by-step detailed instruction on completing the task at hand. Visit my YouTube channel and watch my disclaimer video. And please like, share, and subscribe. I hope you find the information you're looking for. Thank you very much for watching. Alright, this 1998 Jeep has a air conditioner compressor that is seizing up. So I'm going to go ahead and replace the compressor. Let's get started. Okay, I'm about to change the compressor on this Jeep, but I do want to start out by telling you that the process in which I'm going to change this compressor is not the right thing to do, but it may work. Anytime you change a compressor on a vehicle and don't change the dryer and related parts and have the system properly serviced, you're probably going to have a system that works anywhere from 50% to 80% of what it should. So it's always best to have a system at a minimum professionally serviced, but whenever the dryer is not replaced and maybe a switch or two, you probably got a system that's not going to get as cold as it should. So you're taking a chance by only doing the compressor. Now, the very first thing I do if I'm going to change a compressor on a vehicle is I take that vehicle to an authorized air conditioning service place and have them remove the freon in it. I want them to remove the freon, capture it, and then I take it back to them after I change the compressor and have them properly service it. So, at a minimum, let them capture the freon and let them service it, and that way you at least have a fighting chance of this thing working properly. If you just take it and pull the compressor and service it up yourself, you're taking a big chance that the system is going to half work and or fail prematurely. When you take it to get it serviced properly, you at least give it a fighting chance, and it should work at least 80%. Okay, here are the tools I use to remove the air conditioner compressor from this 2008 Jeep Grand Cherokee V8. Crescent wrench to take the put slack on the serpentine belt. I use a 1/4 inch 8mm to get the upper coolant radiator hose off if it had those screw-on clamps. I use the needle nose pliers to get that upper heater hose off on this vehicle because it had the squeeze clamps, and I used a 10mm and a 13mm ratchet with a short extension, and that was a 3/8 inch drive. Then I had a pair of gloves and something to catch the coolant because you need to drain a little bit of coolant off. On this vehicle, it's nice, the compressor sits right there in front up top on the motor. But you do have a coolant hose that goes over top of it, so you need to drain some coolant out of the vehicle and remove that coolant hose. This radiator had the squeeze clamps on it, so I just squeezed the clamps and moved them, and I'll go ahead and move the radiator hose aside. Next thing I'm going to do is take some tension off of the serpentine belt and take the serpentine belt off. I believe it's a 15mm, or you could use a crescent wrench like this. It should be fine. Put the wrench on the belt, push the belt towards the driver's side of the car, and it comes loose enough to get the belt from up over the pulley. So let me go ahead and take it off the pulley, but you can see the slack in the belt. Now take a good look on the path of the belt in case for some reason it falls all the way off and you have to reroute it. But don't forget how that belt goes on there. Next thing I'm going to do is unplug the electrical lead that goes over to that connector right there. It has a little squeeze clip on it. You squeeze that clip and unplug it. It comes unplugged pretty easy, so try not to damage it. Here's a little bit closer look at the clip. You lift the clip up actually, and then it unplugs the wire pretty easy. Okay, the next thing you want to do is break these two bolts loose from the top of the compressor there, 10 millimeter. Remove these two bolts that mount the refrigerant line and take them out, but leave the lines connected just so that the system will be exposed to air at as the minimum time as possible. Next, you want to take a 13 millimeter, take these two front mounting bolts loose and off, take the two mounting bolts on the back side of the compressor, remove them, and then loosen that bolt there if you have a bracket on there. Once you do that, you can go ahead and remove those bolts. Now that the compressor mounting bolts is loose, go ahead and remove those two lines, unplug them from the compressor, and you should be able to slide the compressor out. Once those lines are loose, you'll hear it break vacuum. Go ahead and pull the compressor out from up under that heater hose. This radiator hose is in good shape, so I'm not going to disconnect the other side. I'm just going to bend it over like that since it'll only be a couple of minutes. Okay, now I got the compressor out, and this is the compressor I'm pulling out. The other compressor that I'm putting in is over there. Now the thing that you got to be concerned with is how much oil is in the compressor. They have that Pang oil or whatever it's called in there. So the compressor, if you pulled it from the junkyard car like I did, you can tilt it over and see if there's any oil in there, and then you can try to guesstimate about how much oil is in there by doing the same thing to the compressor you're pulling out. So I got a little bit of oil coming out of this one when it gets almost level, and don't look like I got much oil coming out of this one. So what I'm going to do is pour a little bit of the old oil from the old compressor into the compressor I'm about to use, just a little bit, hopefully try to equal it out. And this is a guesstimate, but you need some oil in the old compressor. If the compressor you're putting on is used and it has no oil in it, then dump all the oil from this other compressor in there that you can. Okay, once you have the replacement compressor in place, you want to go ahead and plug those lines in as soon as possible to reduce the system contamination. And check the seals on it before you do. It'd be a good idea to get replacement seals from the dealer before you replace the compressor. I snugged those lines down. Now I'm going to put in the 4 bolts before I tighten those 2 up. Okay, I tightened the 4 compressors bolts down real tight. Don't know the torque value. I tightened this bracket bolt down in the back real tight. I tightened these 2 down pretty darn tight. And I plugged in my wire back here. So I got it plugged in. And now I'm going to hook up my heater hose. Okay, now I'm going to put the serpentine belt back on. So I'm going to put that wrench on that tensioner, pull it over, loop the belt over top. Okay, the coolant that I removed from the motor is probably about 1 gallon. So I just add it back to this coolant reservoir up here, because you're not going to get that coolant back in the radiator. Okay, last but not least, since I do have the belt back on, I'm going to take the vehicle back over to where I had the refrigerant removed and have them service it back up and make sure it works. Okay, here you can see the compressor is installed, and it is engaged, and it is working. So when the last one was installed, it was making a lot of horrible noise, but this one seems to be working and quiet. I'll go inside and see how cool the air feels. Okay, I'm driving with the AC on, and the AC does feel good and cold. And the cost of the service at the professional shop I took it to evac the freon and to recharge it and add what it was short was $112. Hope that helps. If you feel that this information was beneficial, please like it and share it with your social media friends. You can also subscribe to my channel so that you can get notification of future videos that I post. Visit my channel. I have all types of do-it-yourself videos there. You can leave questions here and I'll try to respond to them as quick as possible. You can also visit my website at robertspinner.com. Thanks again for watching.